Thursday night is now suddenly TV night. It's like the great night because we've got Loki is now playing, but Gen V. Of course, last week, Gen V, which is the spinoff show of The Boys, they launched by dropping 3 episodes. And listen, I think that is the absolute model that streaming shows should do. Ray and I were talking about this off camera before, that by dropping multiple episodes to start, you really give an audience person a chance to get connected to the show. And then you go week to week, episode to episode after that, right? It's brilliant. I've really felt that a lot with a lot of shows, and so much so that now when I watch a new show that just drops their first episode, I'm like, I don't know if I'm completely connected to it yet. But when you do things like Hulu's done this for a while too, you drop 2 episodes to start or drop 3 episodes to start, you really get a true sense of the show. You really get connected to it, because last week when I watched the first 3 episodes of Gen V, I was just drooling, waiting for the next episode. I could not wait for the next episode to come. Well, last night, the next episode came, no pun intended, and it was awesome. It was so glorious. I love all the characters. And what was the name of the private eye that got a tech something, right? The private eye soup who's got these superpowers. There he is, who's got these superpowers he's like basically God. Sherlock Holmes, a superpowered Sherlock Holmes. He can detect sweat beads, heartbeat increases, all this kind of stuff. He can solve any mystery, any crime. But true to the boy's form, he's got a little sicko kink in it too, which when they showed it, my wife, Ann, literally rolled off the couch. She started laughing so hard. This guy is just humping everything he can get his dirty little hands on. Reminds me, he's like Gen V's version of Ray Aura.
Okay.
So,
okay. You were waiting for that one, huh?
I was waiting for that one all day. I've been waiting to bring that one up all day. But again, the great thing about Gen V, like The Boys, is that, and I've said this many times, but it's got this really edge-pushing, juvenile, like filthy exterior with tons of sex, tons of, violence, gory violence, and all that kind of stuff. But underneath it, they have a show and a story filled with wonderfully multi-dimensional characters, telling really great human stories that Rob and I said this the other week, that even if you take away the superpowered aspect and you take away the comic book aspect of it, you are still left with a really good show with really interesting characters that all have 50 shades of gray. None of them are purely good. None of them are purely bad. And I am just loving this show. And by the way, I didn't even realize Golden Boy was Arnold Schwarzenegger's son. Mm-hmm. I had no idea. I'd heard the Schwarzenegger's kid was in the show. I didn't realize that Golden Boy was actually Arnold Schwarzenegger's son. But I mean, the whole thing, the drama going on between the dude and his dad who is a trustee of the school and a famous legendary superhero himself, and finding out that his dad might be just as messed up as the villains he's training to fight. I honestly, I think Cricket is becoming one of my favorite characters, not just in Gen V, but in the whole The Boys universe. She's the most grounded, real. I love the fact that she's got this really twisted superpower. And then, of course, we get to our main character with the whole blood control thing, and her use of blood control in this, as somebody, I won't spoil it, but as somebody was trying to take advantage of her, she used her blood control in a real creative and grotesque way that made every male on the planet recoil and cringe like, when it happened. The humor's on point. The violence is on point. The narrative and the story depth is on point. I absolutely love this show. From the moment that it ends, my mental head starts a countdown until next week when I get to see the next episode. I'm completely in love with this show. And so I totally dig it. Guys, we want to thank a sponsor of this video, HelloFresh. With HelloFresh, you get farm-fresh, pre-portioned ingredients and seasonal recipes delivered right to your doorstep. Skip trips to the grocery store and count on HelloFresh to make home cooking easy, fun, and affordable. That's why it's America's #1 meal kit. Kickstart a fresh fall routine with HelloFresh. HelloFresh handles all the meal planning and shopping to deliver everything you need to cook up a tasty meal right at home. They do the hard part and you get to take the credit. HelloFresh takes the stress out of mealtime by delivering fresh ingredients and easy recipes right to your door. So this fall, skip that extra trip to the grocery store and have dinner ready in no time with America's #1 meal kit. Like we've mentioned before, Ann and I are both working professionals, and mealtime is sometimes a bit stressful. That's why we absolutely love HelloFresh. It's nutritious, it's delicious, and we actually have a really good time making dinner together. So guys, go to HelloFresh.com/50Campea and use the code 50Campea for 50% off plus free shipping. That's HelloFresh.com/50Campea and use the code 50Campea for 50% off plus free shipping. HelloFresh, America's #1 meal kit. Nadia, you had a chance to watch Gen V. You and I have never talked about this, but I don't even know if you've watched The Boys before, or if you had that background to it. Have you seen The Boys? What do you think about this world? And what did you think about the episode we saw last night?
I am obsessed with the Boys universe. I love the comic. I love the show. I think basically my way of describing it to people that haven't watched it is imagine Kanye West had superpowers. It's basically like the craziest, most like obnoxious celebrities. If they had superpowers, like that's how it would be in real life. Like Homelander, that's exactly what a superhero would be. So I think the show is amazing. They do crazy, outlandish things like the cocksplosion and like all these other crazy things. But like you said, like it's grounded in so many themes of real life. Like this one, they touch on like mental health, eating disorders, nepotism. Like it's like teenagers like figuring out how to go about being a teenager, but also having these powers. Then there's the whole like trauma of their parents forcing them to become heroes, like injecting them with compound V as children. So there's a lot of like darkness in this. And what I love is typically like with prequels, I get a little nervous, but with this, like it took any like doubts I had away. It's basically expanding on the Boys universe, and it's showing us like how they got there. So like even like let's say with A-Train, like the manipulative things that he'll do to stay on top, and even the Deep, like to be in the 7. Right. This show really shows you like what they have to do. They have to be the best at social media. Like they have to have like the high numbers. People have to know who they are. If they save someone, it may not even matter if they're not the person that they want to have done that thing. Like it's really manipulative. Like even the teachers, everyone involved, it's all about like a persona, like a show. So it's genius. I love it.
You know, and one of the things you pointed out too is like all these stories that they're telling about, like all the different issues you mentioned, even though none of us can relate with having superpowers, like all of us can relate with at least 1 or 2 or 3 of the characters in the show and issues they're facing, right? We don't often feel that watching a Superman story. We don't often feel that watching a Batman story, but watching this story in this world of The Boys, it's got this weird draw that we can kind of identify with it while it's doing all this absolutely ridiculous stuff. It's absolutely crazy, and I love it. It's part of the reasons why Thursday is must-watch TV for me. Hey guys, thanks so much for watching this video. Make sure you like the video, leave a comment, and subscribe to our channel. And don't forget, we have a daily podcast called the John Campea Show podcast, available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or your favorite podcasting app of choice. Go and subscribe to it today so it'll be there when you need it.